Well, here we are. Finally got one to review, so here you go. And people who like this film, fine by me. To each their own. But so what the film I kind of expected to be. So Barbie. Now I gotta say, first off, nothing against anybody who played with Barbies, nothing like that. I mean, if you wanted to know something about playing with Barbies, hey, my brother, he used to play with Barbies back then, But the thing is, though, he only played with them, but only just by ripping their heads off. I mean, yeah, that's the truth. I mean, he would get them, like, whether it was a Barbie or a Ken, he just goes and rips their heads off. I mean, that's the truth, I mean, but Barbie, it's been a popular toy line for decades, right? And I know they were long trying to do a movie about it. But thing is, though, I saw this film. I see this film. If you see it this way, fine. If you don't, you don't. But I just see this more. This is nothing more to me as a political platform, just using the Barbie name in it. That's what I can see. It's, to me, it's nothing but a political platform, just using Barbie's name on it. So, but Barbie, yes, it came out and it made a huge opening weekend. Like, none of that matter. Like, all that stuff, it doesn't matter because it made a huge opening weekend. 162 million. It made over $1 billion worldwide. It's close to, well, by this time this review is out, probably make over $1.3 billion worldwide. So, yeah, it still continues to climb the charts. So, whatever I say doesn't mean jack squat because people are still seeing the movie and it made over $1 billion worldwide, so. But Barbie, I don't see what was so funny about this movie. To me, it wasn't funny as a comedy. It wasn't. Because all I see, it was nothing but just a political platform about fascism, patriarchy, equal rights, Look, I don't talk about politics, politicalism, whatever in my reviews, but sometimes that's how a lot of the films they put their influences in these films nowadays, about stuff. Yeah, and don't get me started about the whole thing on the whole writer's strike or anything. I don't give a shit about that. But it's just, they're trying to make it think like, oh, they're the victims, I'm like, the thing is, though, in the reality of the today's age, thing is, like, it's like we're all, thing is, we're all victims. We're all equals, People seem to forget that we're not all victims. We're all of us are. We're all treated the same. We are all equals, I mean, make it seem, because the thing is that, oh, women treat men this way, or men treat women the other way, It goes back and forth. The door swings both ways, right? I mean, nobody is perfect. The whole world is not perfect, okay? I mean, we're all in the same boat, There's good and bad everywhere. Perfect, imperfect, I mean, it's like, we're all human, We're all human. We all breathe the same air, right? We all basically do the same thing. We get up night and day, go to bed night and day, and I mean, I'm just saying we're all in the same boat. We're all the same, basically, okay? But the thing is, but some people in the world don't see it that way, They don't. Sad truth it is, It's like, it's like it's a quote that I remember I know fondly of what Sylvester Stallone said in Rocky Balboa, the sixth one, The world ain't no sunshine or rainbows. It's a real mean and nasty place. That's more a better way I would describe how the reality is nowadays. So, I mean, like I said, we're all people. Basically, we're all the same. We're all victims. Front, up, down, and center. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever, Mexican, whatever. We're all the same. We're all equally the same. Some people just don't. Some people just don't get that. It doesn't resonate with them. But they just want to keep on going about especially nowadays. About feminism, especially the transgender now. Which to me that's a whole bunch of bullshit. All that stuff is a bunch of bullshit. I'm sick and tired of hearing about that crap. Especially. And I'm not getting to it. I'm talking about this film for over 5 minutes. And I'm not talking about the movie. But this is what stuff they implement in this. All this stuff they put into it with Barbie's name in it. That's the thing. This film should not be a political platform, but using a toy, because when you were younger, when you played with Barbies, this is what they think of. Barbies were just toys for kids to play with, not to influence your politics or whatever feminism, any of that stuff in that. Because when you're little kids, when you're playing with Barbies, do you think about any of this stuff? No, because when you're kids, you don't think about this stuff because you're not an adult back then. I didn't. And plus, I didn't play with Barbies anyway. In my time, I played with Thomas the Tank Engine. The little train sets, Thomas the Tank Engine. I played with those. Yeah, because while I'm playing with Thomas the Tank, I'm gonna think of what trains, because they all faces and they can speak, because they should all be treated the same like humans, right? Yeah, no, you don't think about that when you're a kid. You think about playing with them. Same thing with the freaking Barbies, But yeah, that's what if anyone knows what my point I'm trying to get across, you understand. But yes, but as a film itself, I don't think it was funny at all. Okay, it wasn't as a comedy. I mean, in the opening, you have they make it to a weird opening when it's a nod to 2001: A Space Odyssey. And you have Helen Mirren, she's narrating. Once again, talk about feminism and equal rights to the Barbies, right? And they have these little girls playing with baby dolls, right? And then also they have them they go and smack. Shows that these little girls are psychos because they're freaking smashing them, beating the crap out of them when Barbie comes along. And so. And now you have all the Barbies and the Kens in this fantasy world called Barbie Land, right? And that song, the song In a Barbie World. Margot Robbie plays Barbie, and you got Ryan Gosling playing Ken. And with Margot Robbie's Barbie, living in her dream house, where they were taking showers, trying to eat food. It's they're not, though, because there's no water, there's no food there, but they're pretending like they're showering, pretending like they're eating right. And you get this, thing is with Barbie, right? It's like someone in the real world controlling them, but they're kind of not, I mean, it's are they controlling them or not? Because have them go the way they go. Because if they're controlling them, picking up themselves in the real world and throwing them down, it's not like they're gonna go flying, right? But Barbie's having her perfect day with all the different versions of Barbies, along with a Ken. Ryan Gosling with other versions of Ken. One of the other versions of Ken is Simu, Shang-Chi from the MCU, Shang-Chi, which I don't care about him. I didn't like him as Shang-Chi. I don't care about him, and simply seeing him, especially him sing along with towards the end of the third act. I didn't not care about him. I don't like him. And Michael Cera, look, he's not a Ken. He's the only one who's not a Ken. His name is Alan. Why is Michael Cera there? I don't know. I'm not too fond of him either. So, and then, and then of course, you have this thing where, okay, in this world, it's like when women treat men differently, right? Compared to like in the real world, right? Here, with Barbie saying, Mark Robbie, she's just coming off kind of a bitch, you know. It's like, oh, this is my dream house. This is not Ken's house. Oh, it's a girls all night party. So it has to be girls all night party. No men, right? And to me, I felt bad for Ken, Ryan Gosling, and honestly, Ryan Gosling, he was like one of the best, basically one of the best parts of the movie, honestly. And I like Ryan Gosling as an actor. I mean, Drive from 2011, I really enjoy that movie. I enjoy Blade Runner 2049. I even liked it when he was a kid, you know, in Goosebumps and Say Cheese and Die. People tend to forget that, right? A young Ryan Gosling in Goosebumps, in the episode Say Cheese and Die. But I like Ryan Gosling. You know, I thought he was doing the best he can in that. You know, one of the best parts, he's one of the best parts of the movie. I felt sorry for him, you know, because like what Barbie told him, you know, this is my dream. This is Barbie's dream house, not Ken's house. And I felt bad for Ken, you know. I mean, he's one, especially all because like all the Barbies, they all have the jobs like doctors, lawyers, or position in their own capital, right? Capital building, and while the Kens, they've been pretty much like are more laid back, lazing around, basically, just trying to fit in. You know, and like wherever, Ryan Gosling's having a good day because wants Barbie to look at him, right? But it also begs the question, like, if they have the Barbies have their own dream houses, where are the Kens living? On the streets? But, its own basis, it says it's only a great day when Barbie looks at him. So, after all that, you know, I kind of felt bad for Ken, you know. But like I said, I like Ryan Gosling. Drive from 2011, I really enjoyed. When he was a kid, from when he appeared in the episode of Goosebumps, Say Cheese and Die. I enjoyed Blade Runner 2049. I like Ryan Gosling. Drive, I think, is one of his best roles from 2011. No affiliated with the 90s film Drive with Mark Dacascos. No affiliation there. So, there's weird stuff's happening, like with Margot Robbie, like the next day she gets burnt toast and she's drinking thinking she's drinking milk, but it tastes like sour, so it's like it's expired, and her feet are flat now, and like, do people remember the Barbies? You know, for them to stand up, they have flat feet. Not when they're wearing shoes, their heels are not like their feet are not like this. So she goes and talks to Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon, which I'm like. So from 2016 Ghostbusters, she's playing a weird version of Egon. Now here she's playing another weird character called Weird Barbie. And because I think she's being controlled because it shows like flashes of her version of herself as a toy in the real world being messed around, like haircut or drawn on, whatever, and that's how the way she is. So she tells Barbie to go to the real world. You have to go through all these smaller travels, like by boat or by jet ski or snowmobile or bicycle or whatever. So, in order to find the headquarters, of Mattel, right? Because she's been seeing all these visions, like, you know, the person who's basically playing with her rights and wants to know, think it's having a negative effect on her. That's why the way she is right now. So, Ken goes along before talking to Simu Liu, you know, Shang-Chi. They give this funny joke. I'm like, do kids understand? Little kids who play with Barbies and do understand this, you know? I'm like, says, beat you off, you know? They say that a lot, you know, beat you off. I don't know if people, especially kids, are gonna get that though. But I don't know why they put them there. To me, it's not funny. But anyway, they go. Ken goes with Barbie. They go to the real world in in Los Angeles, and they're rollerblading, and I'm like, when we go to the real world, it's supposed to be like full of complicated stuff, like they don't understand a whole bunch of things. I'm like, they go to the real world, and I'm like, it's so much. People should say it's more cartoonish than it was how it is in Barbie Land. I'm like, people are saying like, I'm like, especially if they run to some construction workers saying some stuff. I'm like, in today's age, especially in cancel culture, they would be fired on the spot, because that's how in today's age is now, especially with cancel culture and everything. I'm like, those workers would have been fired in 5 seconds. Because like nowadays, if you say anything that that you get all butthurt about, you'd be fired on the spot. So they change. They get some new clothes. They don't have the money to pay for it. They get arrested, but they let go. Barbie goes to find the school where supposedly the girl that she's been seeing. Well, Ken goes because now he's this whole fixation on patriarchy, right? So Barbie goes to the school, finds the girl, and but turns out it's not the girl though, because she says she's Barbie, and I'm like, the girl's like being a total, giving her the freaking cold shoulder, what was it, the third degree, right, and explaining stuff like, oh, you're a fascist, and about Barbie as a sexualized capitalism and stuff like that. I'm like, this girl, this girl's a communist. That's what he is. That's what she is. She's a communist. Just saying that, oh, Barbie's a fascism and its place on sexualized sexualized capitalism. I'm like, you're a communist. So Barbie gets hurt about it. She realized she realized that she's actually crying, and so, and then back in Mattel, the CEO of Mattel is played by Will Ferrell, which he's just playing. Will Ferrell is playing himself. Okay, like people say how Jeff Goldblum or George Clooney they're playing themselves, right? Well, same thing I say with Will Ferrell. He's playing himself, and honestly, I'm not really a big fan of Will Ferrell anyway. I mean, I like the other guys with him and Mark Wahlberg. I like the other guys. I actually do not mind Talladega Nights, but I'm just overall not a fan of Will Ferrell. I just don't think he's overall not that funny overall, People like Will Ferrell, that's fine, but to me, I'm not big on Will Ferrell. I know my brother likes him in Step with John C. Reilly and Step Brothers. I know he likes that movie. But he's a CEO, and they find out about Barbie. They want to bring her back to their headquarters. So, and one of the employees that's working there, who's actually the one that the woman that she's been seeing in Barbie's visions, is the mother of that little shithead girl, and the mother is played by America Ferrera, Ugly Betty herself, or if people know, she voices Astrid from the How to Train Your Dragon series. I liked her. I liked her as when she voiced. I liked her as Astrid from the How to Train Your Dragon series. But a lot of people know her from Ugly Betty, So she's the mother of that little twat girl, and she's the one who's been playing with her Barbie and having those visions. So she overhears about this, tries to go, picks up her daughter up, and Barbie gets taken to Mattel, and while this is going on, Ken goes back to Barbie Land to um, show patriarchy in the Barbie world. And so Barbie is talking with Will Ferrell, telling her to get in the box, this giant Barbie box. And basically, although she says she wants to go home, though, but I'm like, okay, why don't just let her go back to her world instead of just putting her in a box, you know? And this is what I mean about the real world is so cartoonish because they chase Barbie, and Will Ferrell and his group of executives, they're just running like in cartoons, you know? Like Will Ferrell, he's just like look like he's just running in place, you know? Oh, I'm gonna get you, you know? And my God, sorry about that, you know? My stomach was acting up because they realized the stupidity of this movie, you know? My stomach is very bothered by this film. That's why I'm getting bloated here. Yeah, this film is really making me bloated. That's why I cut it right there because no one's seeing me, blah, you know. So yeah, like I said, like they're running around these cubicles, you know. Oh, and Will Ferrell's like about how him and his little team, they're just running like freaking idiots, like they're running in a cartoon, you know. This is supposed to be the real world. It's supposed to be full of complicated things. Not supposed to be so simplistic like Barbie Land is. I mean, you're in the real world. It's supposed to be so full of complicated things and people acting like actual people, right? Not acting like cartoon characters, like Will Ferrell and his group of flunkies. I'm like, and they're like when they're like especially when they're leaving, because you know those little things to you stop and you put a card or whatever to enter to push those things over in order to get through, right? And Will Ferrell's like, oh, how would I get through this? Where's my car? You know, and like real world. This is the real world, my ass. You know, okay? People don't act like this in the real world. So Barbie meets with American Ferrera and her daughter. They go back to Barbie Land, but things have changed a lot. So it's now the men rule over the women because the women are now like hypnotized, become submissive to the men, right? It's like the same thing as like how in the real world, supposedly how men treat women like this in the real world, and especially here it's women treat the men, right? So, and now, but part of me wanted to make like, oh, because it makes like Ken, he's like becoming a villain, right? While he shows I was taking over Barbie Land, right? But at the same time, he's like, now he's basically giving Barbie her own medicine, you know, like, well, now this is Ken's house now, right? How does it feel? So, and now Barbie's now depressed, and how the way things have gone, and it has a little whatever the rest of the Barbies are talking with weird Barbie Kate McKinnon. Well, except for Michael Cera, which I forgot to mention. Did I mention? I forget, but I'll say it anyway. Michael Cera is in this, not as a Ken, but named Alan. He's among them, but why is Michael Cera in this? I have no idea. So, but so they come up with a plan to like basically give them what they get, you know, try to turn the tables around on the Kens, and unhypnotize the other Barbies, trying to make the men like turn against each other, like eventually they try to have like a fight on the beach, like we'll beat you off, you know. I'm like Ken versus Simu's Simu Lou's group, you know. But they end up fighting like in a musical number, you know, and like, oh, by the way, among one of the other Kens, right, is a mermaid version of Ken is played by freaking John Cena. I'm like, oh great. I knew more. I didn't like this film, but other than the second Suicide Squad, like I said before, the only time I give John Cena really a pass was when we started in the Suicide Squad as Peacekeeper. I'm like, that's the only time I give him a pass. But I saw him in a version of Ken. I'm like, oh my god, especially when he's a version of a Ken that is a mermaid. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh god, freaking John Cena. Here we go now. So, and then Barbie's talking with Barbie. Then later, Barbie's talking with Ken. You know, Barbie's like, not knowing what her place is and what Ken's place is. And then Will Ferrell and his group, they get there and saying that how, we were supposed to be, basically, we be our own people, can't follow the same formula, right? And then this old lady, which I forgot to mention, where she was when she was in Mattel trying to escape, right? She talks to this old lady for briefly, and then tells her where an exit is. And I guess this old lady is the one who invented Barbie, I guess. So she's the one who invented Barbie, and so all this other stuff afterwards, after everything is all fine and dandy, so Barbie now goes by the name of Barbara, chose to live in the real world, and she's getting a job. So I don't see what is so funny about this movie. Probably whatever the only few chuckles I got was from Ryan Gosling. Because I think they were towards the end, he said, we said, like, it was lying, we said, "Knuff," How lying he said, "Knuff." So that was the chuckle I got out of, because to me, Ryan Gosling was the best part of the movie. Part of me wanted for him to win, right? But at the same time, though. But Margot Robbie, she was, her acting wise as Barbie, she was fine. Okay, if when I give other positives besides Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie, acting wise, she was fine as Barbie. But she's not the reason why the film made over $1 billion. Either why the film made $1 billion because Barbie is a popular toy line, Hey, and my mom collected Barbies back when she was younger. She didn't play with them, but she collected them. But I mean, and with the production sets, maybe I'll give the production sets, because I think I read online that like, they used so much pink paint so much that they ran out. I'm like, well, I hope the whole thing was worth it, but it turns out it did because the film made over $1 billion. So them running out of pink paint was all worth it at the end, I guess. I think it caused like a national shortage of pink paint. Jeez. But America Ferrera, I mean, she was alright, I guess. I mean, I prefer her roles as Astrid from the How to Train Your Dragon series much more. Or otherwise, some people will say will still prefer her as a role as Ugly Betty, But the girl who plays her daughter, she is this annoying little twat communist, telling Barbie she's a sexualized version on capitalism, and she's a fascist as well, I'm like, you're a little psycho future communist, So, and didn't help to freaking see John Cena in there as a Ken version as a mermaid. I'm like, great. Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, didn't care for him. Cera, there was no need for him to be in the movie. Kate McKinnon once again playing another weird character role like she did in Ghostbusters 2016. And Will Ferrell, he's just playing himself. He was not over that funny. The uses of the real world, how it's much more cartoonish like the Barbie Land, because Barbie Land is a fantasy world, not in the real world. The real world is much more complicated than that, and people that, especially like Will Ferrell and his little group of flunkies, they don't act like humans. Or some construction workers, probably would sit where they say, probably get fired on the spot, And the whole thing, like I said, the whole thing about patriarchy and miniarchy or whatever. Try to throw all this politicalness in our faces. Like using it's a political. That's what it is. It's a political film platform, but using Barbie as the name as an escapism for them. Hey, Barbie is a very popular toy. I mean, just the whole thing, just about feminism and patriarchy, equal rights, and everyone's a victim, I'm like, first of all, all of us are victims. We're not perfect. We all live and die like everyone else does. We're all in the same boat together. People need to know about this stuff, It's not just one. It's not one-sided at all on either side. I mean, this is I'm sick and tired of all this political bullshit, But like I said, what do I know? Because the film made over $1 billion worldwide, so they succeeded. I guarantee you, like maybe by the end of this year or maybe by next year, people are not gonna the whole hype of this film is gonna die down, just like the rest of them. I mean, Avatar from back in 2009, everyone was talking about it, and then as the years went by, no one was talking about it no more. So, but like I said, what do I care anyway? So, I mean, Ryan Gosling was the best part of the film. I thought he was acting wise. He was good as Kenny, but at the same time, I kind of felt sorry for him because of the whole thing. Oh, men treated differently in the world of Barbie. I mean, Kate McKinnon once again playing another weird card like she was in Ghostbusters 2016. I think she's the one who said about the pussy fart joke. I'm like, better not say that in this movie. So, yeah, you see, obviously I'm not a fan of this movie. Yeah, people can like this film all they want. It'll probably be the #1 film this year. But I'm not a fan. To me, I think it sucked. Margot Robbie, she was fine as Harley Quinn. I just don't saw nothing what was funny about this movie. That's all I could say. People say this is a great comedy. Well, I don't see nothing comedic about it. The stupid jokes, like with the whole running gag of with John Cena, with Shang-Chi, beat him up, fighting with Ip Man, So. In the real world, acting is so goofy and cartoonish compared to what basically on par being the same thing like in Barbie Land. I mean, people will be fired on the spot, like I said, with the construction workers, You'd be fired on the spot for saying something even the slightest. So. I'm not getting anything. You? Oh, because I was referring to it towards the end of the movie. That's why I was saying that. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the movie. To me, it's a lot. I mean, I rented a Blue Beetle, but it was not a huge rant. To me, I think Barbie is worse than Blue Beetle. But it's still up there. I mean, The Flash pissed me off more. Same with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and with the blue version of Pokemon, for the blue version for the Game Boy, But those are the Blue Beetle's not the worst movie this year by far. This though, to me, I would say, is a lot more worse than some of the ones I've seen. But people can be pissed at me all they want though. But I just want to. Hey, it's my opinion, like I said, and plus the stupid people, like keep your politics out of the movies, Because that's what people are gonna think of when little kids are gonna think about playing with Barbie. They're gonna think about this crap, yeah. No, obviously no, because they're too young to know about it, Stupid. And in the film, opened up alongside with Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Trying to get fingerprint from Illusion Block. That Scott's trying to rob. So, but overall, yeah. Did not like the Barbie movie. To me, I think it sucked. But if people say otherwise, feel free to let me know in the comments, you know. But yeah, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another movie review and such and so forth. And we'll see you next time. Screw Barbie. Later.